Apologize to my daughter or leave. My husband said it in front of 23 people while lemonade dripped from Chloe's white shoes onto the patio. For 1 second, I thought Marcus was speaking to someone behind me. Then he pointed toward the side gate. You heard me, Evelyn. Either apologize to Chloe or go. The backyard went silent. I was still holding the glass pitcher. My fingers had gone numb around the handle. 3 drops of lemonade had splashed onto Chloe's shoes because she stepped backward without looking and bumped directly into me. That was all. But Chloe stared at me as though I had thrown acid. You did that on purpose, she said. I didn't. You always do things like this when Dad is paying attention to me. I looked at Marcus, waiting for the smallest sign that he understood how absurd she sounded. Instead, he folded his arms. Just apologize. Marcus, she walked into me. Chloe laughed sharply. Of course. Nothing is ever your fault. She was 22 years old, a senior in college, and for 9 years she had found a different way to remind me that I was not her mother. At first I had respected that boundary. I never asked her to call me Mom. I never touched her late mother's belongings. I never tried to replace photographs or traditions. I attended every school performance, drove 4 hours to help her move into her dorm, and paid the tuition balance Marcus could not cover when his construction company lost 2 contracts. Still, in Chloe's version of our family, I was an intruder who refused to leave. Say you're sorry, Marcus repeated. The people around us began looking at their plates. His brother studied the grill. His sister pretended to check her phone. 2 cousins moved farther away as if humiliation might splash onto them too. Only Beatrice, Marcus's mother, kept looking directly at me. She sat beneath the maple tree with her cane resting against her chair. Her face was pale, but her eyes were clear. I asked Marcus quietly, "Are you really choosing this?" He frowned. "Don't make it dramatic. Your daughter called me a liar in front of everyone. She's upset, and I'm not. You're the adult here." I almost laughed. I was 44. Marcus was 48. Chloe was 22. Yet somehow I was the only person expected to behave like an adult whenever they wanted to act cruelly. Chloe crossed her arms. I don't even know why she's still here. The sentence landed harder than I expected. Marcus glanced at her, then at me. He could have stopped it. He could have said, "This is Evelyn's home too." He could have said she has loved this family for 9 years. Instead, he looked tired. "Evelyn, please, apologize so we can enjoy the day." Something inside me became very still. For 9 years, I had apologized for taking up space. I apologized when Chloe ignored my birthday. I apologized when Marcus used our savings to rescue his business without asking me. I apologized when Beatrice's surgery forced me to miss work for 2 weeks because no one else could stay with her. I apologized for being hurt. I apologized for noticing. I apologized so often that they had stopped hearing the words and started expecting the surrender. I set the pitcher down. "Number." Marcus stared at me. "What?" I said no. Chloe rolled her eyes. "Here we go." I looked at her. "You walked into me. I will not apologize for something I did not do." Then I looked at Marcus. "And I will not stand here while my husband treats me like hired help who can be dismissed from her own family gathering." His face hardened. "This is my mother's house." Beatrice's hand tightened around the arm of her chair. I noticed. Marcus did not. He pointed again toward the gate. "Then leave." No one said a word. Not one person told him to stop. I removed my apron, folded it once, and placed it beside the pitcher. "All right," I said. "I'm leaving." Chloe smiled. That smile ended my marriage. I walked through the side gate with my handbag and car keys. No one followed me. Not Marcus. Not his brother. Not one of the relatives who had eaten food I spent the entire morning preparing. I reached my car, shut the door, and sat with both hands in my lap. For several minutes I could not turn the key. I did not cry at first. I listened to the muffled music from the backyard. Someone laughed. A few moments later, the laughter grew louder. They had already continued without me. That was when the tears came. My phone rang. I expected Marcus. It was Samuel Reed, Beatrice's attorney. I wiped my face and answered. "Mrs. Hale." "Yes." "This is Samuel Reed." Are you alone? I looked through the windshield toward the house. Yes. Mrs. Lang asked me to call you immediately. My heart began beating faster. Is Beatrice all right? She is angry, but physically she is fine. She wants you to drive to my office. Now? Yes. I don't understand. You will. His tone was calm, but there was something beneath it. Urgency. Preparation. I'm 20 minutes away, I said. Samuel's office occupied the second floor of an old brick building near the courthouse. I had met him twice before, both times for Beatrice's estate planning, but Marcus handled most of those conversations. When I arrived, Samuel was waiting in the lobby. He was in his 60s, silver-haired, careful with every word. He led me into a conference room and closed the door. On the table was a thick blue folder. Sit down, Evelyn. I would rather stand. He nodded. Then I'll get directly to the point. The house on Willowcrest Drive does not belong to Beatrice. I stared at him. What do you mean? It has not belonged to her for 3 years. He opened the folder and turned a recorded deed toward me. My name appeared beneath the word sole beneficial owner. I read it twice, then a third time. This has to be a mistake. It is not. Why is my name there? Because Beatrice placed the property into the Lang Family Residence Trust and named you as the sole beneficiary. I pushed the paper away. No, Marcus would know. He does not. Chloe would know. She does not. I looked at Samuel, waiting for him to smile and explain that I had misunderstood. He did not. Beatrice made the transfer after her hip surgery, he said. You were the person who cared for her. You slept in a chair beside her bed. You drove her to physical therapy. You managed her medication meals and bills. That doesn't mean she should give me her house. She did not make the decision because of 2 weeks of care. She made it because of what those 2 weeks revealed. I sank into a chair. Samuel continued. Marcus visited 4 times. The longest visit lasted 53 minutes. Chloe came once, took photographs for social media, and left before dinner. You stayed. Samuel slid another document toward me. The trust permits Marcus and Chloe to occupy the property, but only under specific conditions. I read the heading. Occupancy Protection Provision. Clause 8. Samuel said states that their right to reside in the home ends if either of them insults, threatens, humiliates, or intentionally undermines you. My eyes lifted. That sounds incredibly broad. Beatrice wanted it broad. Why? Because she had watched the way they treated you. A pressure built behind my ribs. Samuel opened another section of the folder. Inside were printed screenshots, signed statements, and a flash drive. What is all this? Evidence. The first screenshot was from a message Chloe had sent to her cousin. Dad's replacement wife is paying my tuition again. At least she's useful. My stomach tightened. The second showed another message. Evelyn acts like this house is hers. I can't wait until Grandma is gone and Dad reminds her where she belongs. Samuel placed 3 signed witness statements beside it. One is from Marcus's sister, one from his cousin Daniel, and one from Beatrice's neighbor. They describe repeated incidents of humiliation. Why would they sign these? Beatrice asked them. I looked at him. She has been collecting this for 2 years. I stood so quickly that the chair rolled backward. Everyone knew. Not everyone. Beatrice knew. I knew. A few witnesses knew enough to help. And no one told me. Beatrice believed you would refuse the protection if she told you. She was right. Samuel's expression softened. She said you would call it unfair because you have spent your entire marriage confusing fairness with giving everyone else one more chance. I covered my mouth. That sounded exactly like Beatrice. Strict, blunt, often impossible, but never careless. Why today, I asked. Because today she witnessed a direct violation. I pictured her under the maple tree watching Marcus order me out. Samuel turned one final page toward me. It was a statement signed less than 30 minutes earlier. I, Beatrice Lang, witnessed my son Marcus Hale and my granddaughter Chloe Hale publicly humiliate Evelyn Hale and order her to leave the residence despite her role as lawful beneficial owner. I consider this a material violation of Clause 8 and direct my attorney to enforce the trust immediately. My vision blurred. She signed this at the barbecue. Yes. How? I sent an assistant to the house. Beatrice called me the moment you drove away. I pressed both palms to the table. What happens now? That is your decision. No. What can happen? Marcus and Chloe can be served with formal notice that their occupancy rights have terminated. They will receive a limited period to remove belongings depending on local procedure. They will have no ownership claim. The house is yours. I laughed once, a broken sound. My husband just threw me out of my own house. Yes. The shame of the backyard shifted. It was still pain, but something else moved beneath it now. Not revenge. Recognition. They had not only been cruel, they had been confident that I had no power. Does Beatrice want me to do this? I asked. Beatrice wants you to decide without asking what anyone else wants. Serve them. Samuel nodded once. Are you certain? No, I said. I'm terrified. Those are not the same thing. Serve them anyway. The notices were delivered at 7 that evening. I was not there. Samuel advised me to stay at a hotel and avoid direct contact until Marcus understood the legal situation. At 7:14, my phone began ringing. Marcus. Then Chloe. Then Marcus again. I did not answer. At 7:21, a message appeared. What did you do? Another? My mother has lost her mind. Then Chloe. You disgusting thief. I forwarded every message to Samuel. At 8, Beatrice called me. Her voice sounded tired. Are you safe? Yes. Good. I waited. She did not apologize for what she had done. That was not her style. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. Because you would have made me change it. You gave me your house. I gave you what was already being held together by your labor. Marcus is your son. Yes. Chloe is your granddaughter. Yes. And you're making them leave. No, Beatrice said. Their behavior is making them leave. I simply wrote down the consequence before they believed there would never be one. I began crying again. I tried so hard. I know. I paid Chloe's tuition. I know. I used my retirement account when Marcus's company almost failed. I know. I thought if I kept showing them love, eventually they would see me. Beatrice was silent for a moment. Then she said, some people see love clearly. They just decide it is cheaper to consume it than return it. I pressed the phone to my ear. I feel like a fool. You were generous. They were entitled. Do not confuse the two. The next morning, Marcus came to the hotel. He could not reach my room because I had warned the front desk, but he waited in the lobby for 3 hours. Eventually, Samuel arrived and agreed to sit with us in a private meeting room. Marcus looked as though he had not slept. What is this? He demanded, throwing the notice onto the table. A lawful termination of your occupancy rights, Samuel said. I'm asking my wife. I looked at Marcus. For the first time in 9 years, I did not feel responsible for calming him. You told me to leave, I said. I did. Don't play games. I'm not. That house belongs to my mother. No, it belongs to the trust and I am the beneficiary. His face flushed. My mother is sick. She is mentally competent, Samuel said. The trust was created 3 years ago with independent medical confirmation and witnesses. Marcus turned back to me. You knew. I learned yesterday. He stared. For a few seconds I saw panic replace anger. Then he leaned forward. Evelyn listened to me. Chloe overreacted. I was embarrassed. Everyone was watching. So you protected yourself by humiliating me. I was trying to keep the peace. No, you were trying to keep Chloe from being angry with you. She lost her mother 11 years ago. His eyes sharpened. That grief does not expire. No, I said, but it does not give her permission to abuse me forever. He looked toward Samuel. This is a marriage problem, not a legal problem. Samuel folded his hands. It became a legal problem when you violated the conditions attached to your residence. Marcus laughed bitterly. You're going to throw away 9 years over spilled lemonade. I looked at him. No, I'm ending 9 years of being told that every wound is too small to matter. He opened his mouth. I continued. The lemonade was not the reason. It was the moment you proved nothing I gave you would ever be enough to make you stand beside me. His expression changed. Evelyn, I paid 6 months of your business payroll from my retirement savings. I paid you back. You paid back less than half. I was going to finish. I paid Chloe's tuition balance twice. She's our daughter. She is your daughter. I loved her like family, and both of you used that love while reminding me I had no right to expect loyalty. That isn't fair. I almost smiled. Fair? The word they had used whenever I stopped giving. You ordered me out in front of everyone, I said. Now you are standing here because the house is mine. Marcus looked down. For the first time, he seemed to understand the shape of what he had done. But understanding was not the same as remorse. He rubbed his face. Give me time to talk to my mother. Number. Give Chloe time to finish the semester. She can finish the semester from somewhere else. She has nowhere to go. She has a father. His eyes flashed. So this is revenge. No. Revenge would be making you feel what I felt for 9 years. I do not have the energy for that. This is a boundary. Marcus left without saying goodbye. Chloe came 2 days later. She arrived at Samuel's office wearing the same white shoes. The lemonade stain was gone. Her anger was not. You planned this, she said the moment she entered. Number. You were waiting for a reason. Number. You turned Grandma against us. Beatrice, who had insisted on attending, sat at the end of the table with her cane beside her. No one turned me against you, she said. Chloe froze. Grandma, you don't understand what she's doing. I understand exactly. She stole your house. I transferred my house. To her? Yes. Why? Beatrice's face hardened. Because when I could not stand, she lifted me. When I could not drive, she took me. When I was afraid, she stayed. Chloe swallowed. We would have helped if she asked. She asked, Beatrice said. Your father said work was busy. You said hospitals made you anxious. I was 19. You were old enough to post photographs of my flowers and write that you were taking care of me. Chloe looked at me with hatred. You showed her my messages. I did not have them, I said. I did, Beatrice replied. People sent them to me because they were ashamed of the way you spoke about the woman paying your tuition. Chloe's face lost color. That was private. Cruelty does not become harmless because you hide it in a private message. Chloe stood. This family was fine before she came. Beatrice leaned forward. No. This family was comfortable because no one challenged your father, and your father mistook indulging you for loving you. Marcus, seated beside Chloe, flinched. Beatrice looked at him. You allowed your daughter to make your wife earn her right to exist every day. Marcus lowered his eyes. Then Beatrice said the sentence I would remember for the rest of my life. You did not lose my house yesterday. You lost Evelyn's mercy. No one spoke. Chloe began to cry. For years, her tears had rearranged every room. Marcus would rush toward her. Conversations would stop. My needs would disappear. This time, no one moved. Not even Marcus. The move-out period lasted 3 weeks. He wrote, I failed you in that backyard. I kept choosing the easiest moment instead of the right thing. I thought protecting Chloe meant never allowing her to feel rejected. I did not realize I was teaching her that your pain did not count. I read the message 6 times. Part of me wanted to answer, not because I believed everything could be repaired, because 9 years of love do not vanish simply because the truth arrives. I did not reply. On the final moving day, I returned to the house. A deputy was present because Samuel expected conflict. Marcus packed quietly. Chloe did not. She slammed cabinet doors, dragged suitcases across the floor, and complained that everything belonged to her grandmother. At one point, she reached for a silver tea service. Beatrice's tea service. That stays, I said. Chloe turned. You can't take every memory. I'm not taking it. It belongs to Beatrice, and she left it with the house. You already got everything. No, I said. I got responsibility. She laughed. You really think you earned this? I stepped closer. I think I spent 9 years trying to earn basic respect from people who enjoyed making me audition for it. Her eyes filled with tears again. You ruined my relationship with my dad. No, your father damaged his marriage because he was afraid to tell you no. That is between the two of you. Marcus stopped taping a box. Evelyn. I looked at him. He seemed older. I am sorry, he said. Chloe stared at him as if he had betrayed her. Marcus continued. I should have stopped this years ago. Yes. I kept telling myself you were stronger. That was not a compliment. It was an excuse to give me more pain. He nodded slowly. I know. Take care of your daughter, but stop teaching her that love means everyone else must disappear. Marcus looked at Chloe. For once, he did not rush to reassure her. They left at sunset. I stood in the doorway while the moving truck pulled away. The house was silent. I expected triumph. Instead, grief moved through every room. I sat on the kitchen floor and cried until it was dark. Winning the house did not mean I had not lost a marriage. Being right did not make me immune to loneliness. But beneath the grief was a steady truth. For the first time in 9 years, I was hurting without betraying myself to stop the pain. Beatrice moved back into the downstairs guest suite for several months, while I decided what came next. We developed a quiet routine. Coffee at 7, her physical therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays, old movies on Sunday evenings. One night she asked whether I regretted enforcing the trust. I regret that it was necessary. That is not the same question. I thought carefully. No, I said. I regret the years before it. She nodded. Good. Chloe finished college. I did not attend the ceremony, though I sent no angry message and made no public statement. 6 months later, she mailed me an envelope. Inside was a check for part of the tuition I had paid and a handwritten note. I was cruel because I knew Dad would protect me from consequences. I told myself you were trying to replace my mother, but the truth is that you kept showing up, and I punished you for being there. I am not asking you to forgive me. I am trying to stop lying to myself. I held the check for a long time. Then I deposited it. Not because money could repay 9 years. Because returning it would have turned accountability into another opportunity for me to protect her from discomfort. Beatrice smiled when I told her, You are learning. Slowly. Slow is still learning. The divorce was finalized the following spring. Marcus did not contest the house. He did not ask for money from the trust. He signed the papers quietly. Outside the courthouse, he said, I loved you. I know. I just didn't love you bravely. That was the truest thing he ever said. A year after the barbecue, I hosted another gathering at Willow Crest. The guest list was smaller. Beatrice sat beneath the maple tree. Samuel came with his wife. Marcus's sister came after apologizing for looking away. A few neighbors brought food. No one arrived expecting me to serve everyone. People carried chairs, filled glasses, and asked what I needed. I made lemonade. When I carried the pitcher outside, my hands trembled. Beatrice noticed. She lifted her glass. To Evelyn, she said. I frowned. Why? Because this is her home, and no one here needs her to disappear in order to feel important. The people around the table raised their glasses. I cried. But this time, I did not hide it. Later, after everyone left, I walked through the house and opened the windows. Belonging is not proven by how much pain you can tolerate before someone finally values you. Love is not a contest where the person willing to sacrifice the most wins a chair at the table. And family is not a room where one person must remain silent so everyone else can call the atmosphere peaceful. The house is mine, but the deed is not the greatest thing Beatrice gave me. She gave me a consequence strong enough to interrupt the pattern I was too afraid to end alone. Sometimes people say I was lucky. They mean the house. They do not understand that no property can repay the years spent shrinking inside a marriage. But the house became a line. On one side was the woman who believed love required endless tolerance. On the other was the woman who finally understood that kindness without dignity is only self-abandonment. I still think about the moment Marcus pointed toward the gate. Apologize to my daughter or leave. He thought he was forcing me to choose between humiliation and exile. He did not know I was standing in a house that had already chosen me. And I did not know that walking through that gate would be the first time in 9 years I was not leaving a family behind. I was finally walking back toward myself.